I left The Economist to take over Wired. I didn't know anything about media. I'd really never had a media job before. The Economist is more kind of a think tank. And the stock market crashed. This is 2001, September 11th, Enron, et cetera, and it was a real challenge to figure out what to do. We decided that there were really two questions. One is, is this story, is this sort of, the power of the internet to change the world and technology broadly, is this a mirage? Is this a fraud? Does the dot-com bubble, was the dot-com bubble really, is it tulips, basically? And I decided that I knew in every fiber of my being that it was not, that we were at the beginning of something, not the end, and that the dot-com bubble was all about the stock market, not about the underlying technologies. The second question is, well, what should we do about that? What should this magazine be? Even if I was right and the revolution was won, what do revolutionaries do when they've won? Become counter-revolutionaries? Become the establishment figures? Go sulk about the lost days of the Long March. So I decided that we would declare victory, and we would join technology into the mainstream. So we would join the establishment, if you will. Not be as revolutionary as possible within the establishment, but basically take the magazine mainstream. After a year and a half of flailing, as one does, we got traction. I was right. Everyone now acknowledges that the internet is here to stay. That technology is now mainstream. That it does empower individuals to change the world. No problems there. We still want to blow minds 12 times a year. But that isn't so hard because we're not really about technology. We're about how technology is changing the world, and all we have to do is look out there somewhere. Two years ago, we bought back the website. Now we can now walk the talk and do the kind of experiments we've been advocating. Our job on the print side is to add value to the web. I think everybody's job, actually, regardless of what industry they're in, everybody's job is to add value, at least in the information world, is to add value to the web. The web is the water we swim in, it's the air we breathe. You need to stand out. And so we do something the web can't do. So now we come to the website. What should the website be? Well, it shouldn't just be a bad version of what we do in print. It should be something else. And so obviously, we do the nominal stuff of faster, more, et cetera. We have limited pages in the magazine. We have unlimited pages on the web. But the cost structure is still not right either, because we're competing with amateurs who are creating an infinite amount of content on very narrow subjects for free. So our challenge is really, how do we bring amateur energy into our domain? How do we use our brand, our kind of catalytic power, our leadership, our technology to incentivize people to create valuable content within our confines? There are aspects to the magazine which may seem like virtues that I see as sins. It's got an intrinsic hierarchy, right? We have a cover. The stories have an order. The table of contents lists them in order. I have to guess every month at what the most important story is. And every month I'm wrong. And sometimes I'm a lot wrong, and sometimes I'm a little wrong. But the reason I know I'm wrong is because when I look at the actual user behavior on the web, it's never what I expected. What I thought was going to be the most popular story is often not the most popular story, and what I thought was not going to be a popular story turns out to be a popular story. And I hate having to guess. I suck at it. We all suck at it. We don't. You cannot guess at what people want. And I wish I didn't have to do it, but I have to, because we build the thing before we polish that egg before we ship it. And once it's shipped, we can't change it. On the web, exactly the opposite. We don't have to guess at what people want. We can throw something out, and we immediately get feedback. And let's imagine that. So in the print, I decide the order. Let's say on the website, I just threw it all out there, and the order was sort of emergently, spontaneously created by popularity. But the front page changed depending on what people were liking. Easy to do. The good news is that it would be a more sort of authentic measure of true demand. The bad news is that it's incredibly chaotic. And it turns out that some people actually want to know what I think, even though I'm wrong. And in some sense, the value of the New York Times is not the information, because that's a commodity. Those stories are out there. But more what the editors of the New York Times think is most important today. And not that they're right, but that their opinion matters. And so I think there's an interesting tension in sort of, imposing an editorial hierarchy onto the information online, the kind of, the curator's voice,